So guess what finally came in the mail today, guys? That would be the Lumix GH5, G9, and GH4 activation key for the V-Log color profile. So I'm gonna talk to you guys today about what it is, how to install it, and well, is it worth it? So let's roll. So what is a log profile? For many cameras in the market, they come with their different shooting modes that you can select when you're going to shoot video. That can be a portrait setting, that could be a natural color profile setting, it could be a scenic profile setting, and essentially it allows the camera to be able to set the color presets when you begin your filming process. Now in a log profile, they're usually flat options to be able to set more dynamic range in post when you're color grading. In many cases, like a Canon or a Sony camera, you get what's called a C-Log or an S-Log that's built into the camera that you just select when you want to have that option of being able to shoot a flat color profile. Unfortunately for us Panasonic users, we have to order what's called the V-Log activation key. Why for the life of me they wouldn't call it a P-Log or an L-Log, well, that's up for you to decide, but it's a V-Log for the Panasonic Lumix series. So this is a flat color profile, and so what that means is that when you're shooting it in camera, it's gonna look really flat. There's gonna be no contrast and dynamic range. It's gonna be a very unsaturated looking video straight out of the camera. So this flat color profile gives you 12 stops of dynamic range. That in comparison with the D-Cinelink, it only has 10 stops of dynamic range. So there's a lot of options and flexibility in post that you can really push and pull colors and tones to get the look of that cinematic feel for your video. One really important thing about this V-Log option is that when you're shooting a V-Log, I would recommend shooting outdoors. You get the best results for that flat color profile. So quick pro tip, when you're shooting a V-Log outdoors, definitely use an ND filter on your lens. When you use the V-Log option, it pops up the ISO off the bat to 400. So if it's a sunny day, you have to have a good ND filter on your camera in order not to have blown out images right off the bat. So in order to get this activation key, you can order it directly from Panasonic or your camera store, and generally runs about $100 American or approximately $4,321 Canadian. And then you get this little box with essentially a piece of paper and a code on it. Off the bat, in my mind, I think it's completely ridiculous. They have to send you a box for essentially a code, but that is how it's done. Why they can't send it as a direct download link in an email? So let's open the box and install it on the camera. Let's go. So let's go ahead and get this installed on the Lumix GH5. First off, let's turn on that camera and let's pop in a fresh SD card. All right, good to go there. So before you ever install any activation codes on the Lumix series cameras, make sure you have the correct version number. I believe in the GH5 is version number 2.6, so make sure you have that installed first. So just go ahead and check that by going to the wrench option here and looking for version display. Now look for version display to make sure that the body firmware is 2.6 right there. So let's head back, and now we're gonna go down to make this card a nice fresh card again. So we're gonna go down here to format the card. We're gonna format slot 1, which is gonna delete everything on the card. So make sure nothing is important on that card. We're gonna say yes. And now we have a nice fresh card. So the next step is we're basically gonna export the camera LST file from the Lumix GH5. So we're gonna go look for this here under, I believe it is Activate. And we're gonna go to Export Serial Code. And we're gonna say yes to this, which is gonna export this code or an LST file to the SD card. So next step is we're gonna take that SD card out of the Lumix GH5 and onto your computer. So the next step is we're gonna go to the Panasonic download link for being able to activate that particular V-Log code that came in your box there. So there's a link in the installation guide, plus also a link below in the description of how you can find that page. And it gives you two options, both for being able to activate the GH4, GH5, and G9 V-Log, as well as the DS-S1 if you're lucky enough to have a Lumix S1 camera. So let's go and select this one here. So it's the top one here for the GH5. So we're gonna go right here to the choose file name and path. So once you get to the stage, you're going to be able to choose that file name that we downloaded from the camera. So you're going to go choose file, and you're going to select that Lumix here, which is in the private setting, Panagrip, PAC Lumix, and finally the serial.lst. So you're going to choose that file here. And next you're going to select upload. So it's going to ask now for the activation key. So it's the key on the piece of paper that you got. Make sure that you don't enter any hyphens in, and it says also enter any alphabet in capital letters. So, you know, they don't make it easy for you here, but make sure you enter that in correctly. Once you have that key code entered in, you're going to hit that register button, which registers the software key with Panasonic. Quick tip here also, make sure you have that key on hand, because if you ever have to bring your camera in for servicing, they might want that key code for V-Log. So let's hit register right here. So now it says basically that you've activated that code to your camera, so it's been assigned to the camera's serial code, and you're going to save it to the memory card by pressing this button right here. Once that file is downloaded, you're going to look for a new window here from your downloads. Let's go to your downloads here. This is your active.2-lst. Now I already have an active1.lst because I installed it on my Lumix G9 recently. So I'm going to bring this over here. It's going to bring it onto the camera right here. So next I'm going to pop out that camera card from the computer and put it back onto the Lumix GH5. So we're going to stick that SD card back into the Lumix GH5. Power up that camera. We're going to go over here to the menu option, and we're going to go back to activate. And we're going to go import activation code. And we're going to say start processing, yes. To enable the function, it says turn power off and then on again. So we're going to turn the power off. And we're going to turn the power back on again. Under photo style, I'm going to go down here, and we should scroll across until we see scenery, portrait, custom 2, 3, 4, Cine like D, Cine like V, like 709, and there it is, the V-Log L. So as you can tell, it has saturation set at 0, plus also the noise reduction set at 0. And if we set that, we're also going to notice that right now the ISO has bumped up to 400, as you can tell right there. So that basically gets you your V-Log onto that GH5 from the activation on the website. So is a V-Log flat color profile worth it to get that cinematic look that you're looking for in post-production? In my mind, I would have to say yes. However, it's yes with a clause. I think the price is a little too high to pay for a just simple color profile, and that it already should come pre-installed on the camera itself. Now, many cameras now do come with it. I've heard in the Lumix GH5 and the G9, but for users who purchased their cameras in the past, this should be something that's given for free, especially considering that Canon and Sony cameras already have it pre-built in. So thanks again for watching. Do you have V-Log for your Panasonic camera? Do you like it? Has it helped you? Drop a line below and let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear what you have to say about this flat color profile for the mirrorless cameras in the Lumix series. If you like what you see, also hit that like and subscribe button so you can keep up to date on all the videos we have coming up on tips and tricks on how to get you the shot you want on the budget that you got. Try shooting in a flat color profile. You might be surprised with the results.